Hello fellow civil engineers, and welcome to the training desk of New Way Designs. I'm Will, and you know the deal. I'm here to give you that express ticket to practical Civil 3D knowledge. So today, let's say you have a site plan drafted, and this includes your roadway center lines. And you want to do the next logical step, which includes creating alignments from your roadway center lines. Now you're smart, so you drafted your center lines as polylines and not lines as arcs, like those old school fools. So what we're going to do today is go over quickly how to create alignments from polylines and then edit those if you need to change the roadway alignment later. Time to flip over to the CAD screen.
And welcome to CAD land. Here we are with the site plan. This is externally referenced in here as background. I have saved this file as the C roadway, and ultimately this is going to be where the corridor lives, and this is the file we're going to create our alignments in. This base file, it's actually over here. I'm going to run through and do some of my typical checks before I use these lines in the other file. One thing I like to do is go ahead and add vertexes at all of the intersecting points. Just makes it easier to see the intersections once you create a profile view for them. So I'll add vertex here, snag it to that endpoint, make sure it's where it needs to be first. Click it in there, cool. This is also a straightaway. I can check that by hovering over the grip. When I have the DYNMODE set to 3, that's DYNMODE. So that's dynamic input mode. You set that to 3. You can see dimensions at your cursor and the commands type beside your cursor as well. Looks like I want another vertex here. And these are pretty much ready to send to the roadway corridor now. So I will save it. I'll get the notification over here to reload. And then I'm going to use the command NCOPY to bring these lines live into this file. So this is going to be my road A here. This will be my road B. I have a good drafter, so these curves are true fillets, filet mignons, and they meet the requirements for our local subdivision standards. 160 feet was the minimum. The smallest radius we have here is 180. Cool deal. Got a hammerhead down here, worked out better than a cul-de-sac, and then a little L or Y turnaround, whatever you want to call it. But now we're going to take these polylines and create alignments from them. So to do that, look up on your Home tab. You can hit the drop down on Create Alignment from Objects. That leads you to this pick box point, and you can take the pick box and select your polyline. So we have it selected. You can see that it's lit up. We'll then hit Enter or Spacebar for Enter. You see here you have the please enter to accept alignment directions or reverse. I see the arrow going this way. I do want my 0 station to be over here at the existing road. So I'm going to hit space to accept that. And I'm going to name it Road A. You'll see down here I already have an alignment layer that built based out on what I named it up here. Type is centerline. I'm fine with all of that. We could create a site. It's a good practice to do so. So I'll just call this the roadway site. And alignment style standards, good. Major and minor stations is the label set I want. Don't want to add curves because I already designed those. Then we can go ahead and erase the existing entities in here. If you were doing this in your base file in the same location as I had over here, then I would recommend not deleting the polylines because it's easier to edit polylines than alignments, and you can use the polylines as a background to trace for your alignments as you need to change them. So we are going to leave this checked in here. If you were drawing it locally in the file, you were also creating corridors, I would uncheck that. Hit OK. Now we've got some stationing and an alignment here. Let's repeat that command, and instead of going up here and clicking, I can hit space to repeat the command, and we'll click it. It is lit up now. Same thing. I like the way that arrow is pointing. 0 down here, greater station down here, space and accept. This will be road B. Center line, good. We're going to move it to the roadway site. All of these previous choices are remembered. Besides this, I need to change that setting in this template so I don't have to check every time. Let's undo that bit, leave that checked, hit OK. And now we have 2 alignments in here. So let's say we're going to go and wreck this site plan, but we've already done some grading and set up links for surfaces and such graded from the corridor, and we don't want to go delete alignments and recreate them in this same fashion. What I'm going to do in here is just make an edit, a crazy wild edit that we can trace over in the other file momentarily, just for the sake of the example of how to edit the alignment once you've created it. So what we'll do is draw a random tangent over here. I'm going to leave it just like that. And then what I'm going to do is fillet from this tangent, this straight tangent, over to this tangent with a different radius. F for fillet. And then I hit R for radius. I'm going to make it a 200. I'm going to click this first tangent and then go to the next. Now we have a new alignment. Let's show how to fix this in the other drawing. Go ahead and add a vertex here. Save that. It's going to reload it over here. Now you'll notice that our alignment is no longer with the background polyline for the center line. Let's show you how to get those lined back up. Going to do the NCOPY again. I hit escape, and that line dropped in perfectly for me. I'll click that, the alignment, and the stationing, so I can check myself as I do this to make sure I've done it correctly. And then I'm going to type in the command isolate. This is isolate objects, different from lay ISO. So this has put the blinders on us like we're the racehorses. Now we can see only what we need to here. So we've got the polyline here we want to trace. Instead of trying to follow through the hard way, I'll show you the easy way. We can take this tangent and line it up with this piece. You'll notice that this here arc in the alignment did not match up with our polyline. We're going to fix that. So let's select the alignment, right click and hit edit alignment geometry, or alternatively you can go up here on the home and hit geometry editor. Let's just do it the quick way. Edit alignment geometry. And we're going to use this to delete the subentity of that arc. And it's gone. You'll notice that the alignment still continues over here, but the stationing does not. And that's because these pieces aren't connected. We're going to fix that. We're going to take this vertex and snap it to that endpoint. Got a little longer. Going to double check this one, make sure it's snapped there. And then we're going to draw a 3-point arc. And we're going to snap to endpoint, midpoint, endpoint, and then it will generate an arc that's perfectly as you had it drawn in the other location. So let's go down here, hit our drop down, fixed curve, 3-point, perfect, that's what we want. So we got to hit 1. We're going to hit the snap of midpoint, and then down to the end. And you want to be sure to draw in the direction of low station to high station, or this will not work correctly. So I started down here. It would not work if I started here and went that way. Now that I hit that, we have a revised alignment. Let's see. I had already added a vertex here, but let's say I had not done that. I'm just going to delete it for now. I'm back to having no vertex on that tangent to represent where the intersection is located. I'm going to unisolate the objects, and I'll show you how to add that vertex back. You just hit this button here, the triangle that says Insert PI. PI is just the fancy version of vertex. There it is. Simple as that. Dang guys, I was about to dip out of here without showing you how to draw tangents. We did curves. Some of the same concepts apply here. If we're going to add a simple tangent, you can do the fixed line, 2 points here. Remember to draw in that same direction, low to high. So we'd start here at the end, and we'd add out here if we wanted to add an extra bit of length. And I'll show you what happens if you do it the wrong way. See, we have stationing that continued out here. All is good and well when you see that. But if we delete this piece and then try and add it in the opposite direction, starting out here and going back this way, you'll notice that the alignment is connected out here, but the stationing stops here. Bad. Don't do it that way. So let's delete that. Don't need that anyway. We're going to proceed forward with this design. Another cool place to check yourself before you wreck yourself is this little green circle over here with the pencil. You can click that and you can check your radii, among other things. You could manually change these things if you have the tangency constraint changed. Now let's say, for example, we want to change a radius to 200 over here. Let's change this 180. And I'll do constrained on both sides, free over here. And then we could just hit 200. You'll see on the screen over here, it is lit up. But if I hit enter now, you'll notice you see two lines here because that larger radius pulled it in. I don't like to edit this way because you always get this funkiness here that you can avoid if you draft, as I previously showed you. If you just redraft the curves, drag the tangents back to where they need to meet the vertices, and redraw that filet mignon with this fixed curve 3-point. That's my favorite way to do it. You can do it other ways. I do think this is the most simplified method. Let's undo a couple of things here. So I want to leave that as a 180. We are actually going to move on to the next phase of design here, which will be the next lesson too.
My fellow civil engineers, what have we learned today? Today we went over how to quickly create Civil 3D alignments from polylines. Polylines are the easy place to start, so if you're making center lines for your roadways in your site plan, be sure to have those tangents and then create that nice curve with the filet mignon in between them. Also today we went over how to edit those alignments after the fact if you have changed your site plan. The next video is going to follow in on these same two alignments. We're going to create a vertical design profile that we're going to use in a corridor that will be used to create a beautiful tin surface for the roadway. As always, I'm here to answer any questions. You can reach out to me, will@nwdpllc.com. Next video coming soon. Hope this helped you out.